There are places on the internet where the past, present, and future do not follow the rules you and I know. Places that don't behave like websites, servers, or even data. Places that seem older than technology itself, older than electricity, older than anything that should be able to exist in a world bound by physics. This story begins the way many disturbing discoveries do, with a late-night search, a random curiosity, and a click on a link that shouldn't have been accessible anymore. A link to something called the Human Index Archive. Elias Morgan had never heard of it before. He was researching genealogy as a distraction from a stressful month. His mother had recently passed, and sorting through her belongings had stirred emotions he wasn't sure how to process. He found old letters, photographs, and family journals, but none of it gave him the closure he hoped for. Instead, it only made him realize how much he didn't know about his own family's origins. So, one night, unable to sleep, he began searching the internet for obscure genealogical tools. That's when he found the Human Index Archive. The search results shouldn't have existed. The website wasn't indexed on any major engine. It appeared only after he scrolled through dozens of pages of irrelevant links. The preview text read, "A complete record of every person logged before their first moment." Elias stared at the description. It looked like an AI-generated scam or an abandoned project, but something about the phrasing unsettled him. Logged before their first moment. He clicked the link without giving it more thought. The page loaded instantly. No loading animation, no waiting for the server. It appeared as though the information was already on his computer, already waiting for him. The homepage was black, with a single blinking cursor in the center and text at the top that said, "Enter a name." Elias hesitated. He typed his mother's name first, just to test it. The system returned a result immediately. Her full name appeared, along with a list of data points far too detailed to be public birth coordinates. Time of first breath, hospital layout, the heart rate of the doctor delivering her, the humidity level in the room, the color of her first blanket. Everything was time-stamped down to the millisecond. Some of the details were things Elias remembered hearing in family stories, but others were impossible to verify. His mother grew up in a rural town. There were no digital records of her early years, yet the archive listed everything. Injuries she had as a toddler, every house she lived in, each emotion she felt during key events, down to the way she hesitated before saying her wedding vows. Elias tried to tell himself it was a sophisticated algorithm pulling scraped data together, but the entries went too far back. They included moments no device or person could have captured. It was the emotional metadata that disturbed him the most. Under age 6, one line read, "Felt unexplainable dread on September 8th at 3:12 a.m. Reason unknown." His mother had never spoken about anything like that, but the timestamp matched an incident his grandmother once mentioned, a night when she found Elias' mother screaming in her sleep. His heart started pounding. He searched his father's name next. The archive returned an even more detailed file. It followed his father from birth to his last day, but something new appeared at the bottom, a section Elias hadn't seen on his mother's page. It was labeled pre-index. Below it were entries that made no sense. Submitted for logging on March 12, 1968. Verified compatible. Assigned sequence ID 342991A. Projected lifespan 74.2 years. Deviation at 29.4 years noted due to external interference event. Memory pattern adjustment scheduled. October 4, 1991. Elias' father had always mentioned a strange memory gap around that year, a period he couldn't fully recall. Doctors blamed stress. Elias never questioned it. Now he was shaking. He typed his own name. He regretted it the instant he pressed enter. His file appeared faster than the others, almost eager. It opened with his full name, date of birth, and known information. But then he scrolled, and the panic began rising in his chest. There were entries from before he was born, not from ultrasounds, not from medical tests. These entries were from years before his conception. One line read, "Pre-birth allocation initiated. September 14, 1989. Assigned to Morgan lineage due to compatibility with genetic sequence monitoring begins." Elias wasn't born until 1996. Why would anything be monitoring him 7 years earlier? He scrolled further down. The archive documented thoughts he hadn't told anyone, fears he kept to himself, choices he regretted but never revealed. It listed every injury, every illness, every dream he remembered, and even ones he didn't. Then he saw an entry dated just 3 days earlier. Subject experiences, recurring dream of a door that cannot open because residual memory of previous cycle, containment required. Elias had told no one about that dream. Not a soul. It always involved a long hallway, an old wooden door, and a whisper behind it telling him not to open it. Somehow, the archive knew. He scrolled to the bottom of the file, and his stomach twisted. A countdown was displayed there. Cycle termination in 18 days, 4 hours, 11 minutes. Before he could react, new text began typing itself below the countdown. Confirmation detected. Elias Morgan has accessed his record. Initiating reintegration protocol. The screen flickered. Elias tried to close the browser, but it wouldn't close. He unplugged his computer, but the screen stayed on. The text continued typing itself. You were logged before you were born. You belong to the archive. It remembers you from before your first moment. It will remember you after your last. The screen went black. 3 words appeared. Prepare to return. His computer finally powered off. Elias sat frozen. He felt an overwhelming pressure in his chest, like the weight of something watching him from behind. Slowly he turned. Nothing was there. But the room felt wrong, as if the air itself was waiting. He didn't sleep that night. Over the following days, strange things began happening. He found pages printed from his printer even though he hadn't touched it. Each page contained lines from his own archive entry, including things he had done only minutes earlier. Once, he found a page that described what he would do 15 minutes into the future, and he did exactly that. Without understanding why, he tried to destroy the printer, but it printed anyway, without paper. Without power words materializing on blank sheets, as if written by an invisible hand. He began hearing faint typing sounds in his apartment at night. Sometimes they came from the walls, sometimes from the floor. Once he swore the sound came from inside his own chest. He unplugged his Wi-Fi. He threw his computer away. He smashed his phone. But the countdown continued, appearing on reflections, on screens in stores, in rearranged objects on his desk. 17 days, 16:14. On the 8th day, he received a letter in the mail with no return address. Inside was a printout of the pre-index section of his file. At the bottom, a new line was added. Reintegration location prepared. No address was listed, but Elias knew exactly where it meant. The hallway from his dreams. The door he could never open. The dreams grew more vivid. He heard voices on the other side now. Some pleaded, some screamed, some whispered in his own voice. The countdown kept going. 7 days, 3-1. On the final night, he woke up standing in his living room. Though he didn't remember getting out of bed, the lights flickered. The floor beneath him rippled like digital noise. Slowly a door materialized where his bookshelf had been. Not a modern door, the old wooden door from his dreams. It vibrated softly as though something behind it was breathing. His chest tightened, and he felt a magnetic pull toward the doorknob. He tried to back away, but his legs wouldn't obey. His hand lifted against his will. As his fingers wrapped around the metal, a cold shock ran through him. The countdown flashed in his mind. 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. 0. He opened the door. His scream was the last sound the neighbors heard that night. When they broke into the apartment minutes later, Elias was gone. The room was undisturbed, no sign of struggle. Only one thing was left behind, a single sheet of paper on the floor. His entire archive entry was printed on it. Only one new line had been added. Reintegration complete. Logging next sequence.